What's going on, people? Good morning. Welcome to United View. Welcome to another episode of your latest Manchester United news. Loads to talk about. It's just me and you. We're back together again, yeah? And I'm not on mute this time at the beginning. So smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. I do like doing these, man, because I don't get the chance to do shows with yourselves that often anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's so much going on. Sometimes it's nice to go back to the El Originals when it was just me and you guys. Big up home, by the way. Always needed, always needed. But I do like doing these shows. Loads to talk about this morning. And as you can see in the thumbnail, I wanted to calm down, because you know when you think about, okay, what's the latest topics, what's the latest news, and you go off what's out there, and we react to it, and that we will do some of that in this show. You know, there's a big injury boost, which is good for Alessandro Martinez. Kobe Mainoo got some stuff from Sophie and Amrabat about what he's been saying about Eric Ten Hag. The Ballon d'Or situation, Marcus Rashford being left off it. Onana is on it. I think Marcus Rashford not being on it is an absolute disgrace and a cheat. We'll talk about that. A little bit about Scott McTominay as well being available in January. So all of that usual stuff. But I wanted to just start off with like more of an opinion piece, because I think we need to talk. I think we need to talk because, and this is me included, about just calming down. Okay, about just calming down. It's been turmoil at the club, right? With everything that's been going on off the field, with manager bust ups with players. Now you're talking about the Jadon Sancho thing, etc., etc. It has been complete carnage. When is it not at Man United? When is it not complete carnage? So I've been in it. We've all been in it. And obviously we lost against Arsenal in the last game. And I was just thinking yesterday, you know, when you're just going through things. I've done some stuff at 5 as well, and you're just talking about different situations. And I said it then, and I wanted to elaborate on it here. And it's like a need for calm, because like we have actually made progress under Ten Hag. Like, and we said, I want to cast you guys' minds back, because I just feel it's so negative right now around Ten Hag and playing style. We're not seeing enough, still can't win away. And these are concerns, these are legitimate concerns. But I had to help myself contextualize it and put it into perspective. And I just want to see what you guys think as well. This is my opinion. And also I want to pose the question to you. So we remember when Eric Ten Hag first came in, right? Or even before he got here. What did we say? We said, well, after this Ralph Rangnick debacle, which he was calling out a lot of shit, to be honest with you, but the Ollie debacle before that, and, you know, all of the failings that we'd had that led to the season that we had the year before last, we said there's going to be loads of ups and downs. Loads. There's going to be loads of ups and downs. There's going to be times where we're thinking, bloody hell, like, what is this? What's going on here? There's also going to be good times. There's going to be high times. There's going to be times where we're, you know, in call it air fashion. There's going to be times where, you know, Ten Hag wants to take a crap and we want to wipe his ass. In the words of lead judges, it's true. Like when we, you know, when we can't put any more praise on Ten Hag, and as fans, we're going to go through those emotional kind of ups and downs. This is what happens in football. But we said when the going gets tough, we're going to have to really make sure we keep calm, don't panic, you know, stick by Ten Hag, look at the good that's happening versus, you know, working under the Glazers, coming out of Ajax and that structure, coming into here, and he has got a lot to sort. And all of a sudden, you get the Jadon Sancho situation. You like some people suggesting in the media, I've seen, you know, is he really in control of the players? Well, it wasn't that long ago. And even some Man United fans I've seen sort of saying, you know, it's not good and this, that, and the other. And it's not good. And maybe Ten Hag could have done it in a different way. I've had my say on that. But when I calmed down, I looked at it, I went, this is the same manager who we were all applauding not long ago, a few months ago, let's say when we got to when was the FA Cup final? May. Or was it June? Sorry, June. When we got to like June the 4th, whenever the FA Cup final was, right? By the end of that, we went, you know what? What a good season. He showed who's in power. He showed who's the boss by making sure, you know, Harry Maguire didn't play all last season, eventually got stripped to the captaincy. You know, we didn't know it then, but he did. The Cristiano Ronaldo situation, he pulled rank with that. David De Gea situation, realized that it was a big, big problem. Said, no, we're not doing that. The Jadon Sancho situation at the time during that year sent him away. It wasn't working, helped him, protected him, brought him back in a phased return. Garnacho, the way that he handled that That's 5 already. You know, Garnacho, you know, didn't even the season before last in pre-season, you know, loads of reports coming out about his attitude and not being right. Didn't kick a ball on the last pre-season tour, one before last. Players kept bringing it up. Then they edged him in slowly and slowly and slowly, and he had a big impact last year off the bench after having a turbulent start. The Marcus Rashford situation. So all of these things, you know, he broke up McTominay and Fred, started working on our midfield straight away. Liverpool were able to get 4 midfielders straight away. You know, we had to do it in stages. So look, I'm not playing the sympathy card. I'm just trying to just say, at the end of the day, we do actually need to calm down. That was like the good work of last season where we were praising him. We've started this season, 2 wins and 2 losses. Am I massively, you know, annoyed at the fact that, of course, when it comes to away from home, mate, we are absolutely struggling, and we've got to get better. We can't have another season like last year where we keep losing the big games away from home. But when you look at how we played against Arsenal, and I know Arsenal fans, you know, I was talking to Robbie, and he said, "Look, there was no difference to you and Nottingham Forest. Why are you playing counter-attacking football, etc., etc." And again, I'm not saying that it's all perfect. Of course, it's not, but it was never gonna be. We're in year 2, game 4. Like, there's a lot of other managers, and let's not even compare right to the top, because when you go straight to Pep and you know, straight to Klopp, you know, people say, "Oh, you could see what they were trying to do," and you know, it took Arteta ages to like really, really challenge, to really, really have a squad that he thought was it, and the players had to be available. Look at the injuries that we've had. Look at the players that are about to come in, you know, that technically weren't here yet in Hojlund and Amrabat. You can see Hojlund's impact, and yes, it's only 30 minutes, but you can see that he had an impact. So Man United should have a striker this season. They should have a completely new look midfield if you add Mount into that as well. It's up to Ten Hag to make this fit. But like Ajax would say to me, and I kind of feel like he's on this side here, just talking to me, just saying, just calm down. This ain't going to be easy. There's going to be some shit times. There's going to be some crap times. There's going to be some times where we're like, oh, are we actually making progress? Yes, we are. We are. Is it as quick as we wanted it to be? No. Is it at the expense of, you know, things happening off the field where we just can't catch a break at this club because the people above Ten Hag, you know, to say the least, don't know what they're doing? Of course, those things are real. But in terms of what he's done in a short space of time, we can't lose track of that, no matter how negative it feels in the first sort of moments of the season. And I'm not saying that everybody has, by the way. I'm not saying that all I'm seeing on social media is everyone saying Ten Hag's not good enough and this, that, and the other. But it has felt a bit flat. If anything, I could be just doing this for me, really, just to kind of get it out there that I need to calm down and feel like that. And I feel like, you know, a lot of us do as well. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think in the boxes below and in the chat, because, you know, I don't know. We do this as fans, don't we? We want everything quick. And you do look around you, and it is important to look around you. You look at what, you know, Liverpool have done. They're going to be back way better this season. You look at what Chelsea have done, teething problems there, to say the least. You look at what Newcastle have done. You're looking at Spurs. You know, people are saying after 4 games that, you know, Ange Postecoglou has, you know, completely changed Spurs after 4 games. And they do look different. They do look on the front foot, but it's still only 4 games. We don't know what sort of season they're going to have. We don't know what sort of problems they're going to encounter. The same way after 2 games last year, we thought Ten Hag was going to get sacked. You know what I mean? Within reason. Like, it happens, and I get it. I do. There are bits of this team where I'm like, I do want to see more in this. I do want to see more in that. But essentially, essentially, it is about patience. It is about patience, and it is fine margins. You know, we were within a whisker of winning against Arsenal, a whisker. And if we'd have won that game in that fashion, what we would have said is, wow, Bruno wins back the ball for the goal that we scored. He bounces it off Hojlund. Hojlund, what a flick. What a pass by Bruno through to Garnacho. Typical Bruno. What an assist. Sit down, Odegaard. Bruno impacting a big game. They said he couldn't impact a big game. Assist in whatever minute it was. Garnacho, impact off the bench. Starboy, this, that, and the other. That's what the narrative would have been. You know, those are the small margins between, oh, it's not really going good at Man United, or they're not making any progress, versus, what I just said. The same at Spurs, and I know it's not good enough. I'm not using this as an excuse to say everything is fine. I'm just saying everything is not burning down. Same against Spurs. First half an hour, Bruno misses from 6 yards. If you go on to win that game, or you go on to play properly after playing in the first 30 minutes and extend that, again, the margins are smaller. So, I get it. And the way that we beat Wolves and Forest was not convincing. So it's going to take time. It really is going to take time. But I don't know. I just feel like I have to just calm down. You get Amrabat in there as a real combative midfielder, a real strong character, a real powerful player, real, real muscle head in there, real muscle in there, bit of steel in there. It's going to completely change us. It will. It will. He can't fix everything by himself, but in terms of giving the team a different dynamic, he's going to be important. Having Rasmus Hojlund fit versus Martial, having Rashford back on the left. Yes, there's problems on the right-hand side with Anthony. We don't know what's going on there in terms of his quality and obviously what's going to happen with his situation as it stands. He's obviously going to be playing until further notice, but there are issues to sort, the Jadon Sancho thing. So I just feel like it's typical Man United. For every good thing that the manager has done, he's been handed an equal to or greater than problem to fix or issue that you may look at him and say, he needs to do better there. So my point is, I just think we need to relax, remember that it's early in the season, and just be measured. There's going to be that the hounds are going to be out. How many times have we just say that, when Ten Hag first come, the media are going to be ready, pundits are going to be ready, and also, some of the comparisons you get. I mean, Sky did a graphic of Onana's first game at first 4 games at United versus De Gea, and I'm like, versus De Gea's last 4, sorry. And I'm like, look at the last 4 games that De Gea played in. Who was it? It was Bournemouth, Wolves at home, someone else at home as well. Was it Brentford? A lot easier games than what Onana's been thrusted into. And then look at last season and look at De Gea's first 4 games when we got spanked against bloody who was it again? Spanked against Brentford, lost against Brighton, etc. I know we went on to beat Liverpool, etc. But it was a tough time. It was a tough time, and there's this narrative trying to be pushed that Onana's not that great, and have they got worse with him? I'm like, it's 4 games, man. It's 4 games. I saw big up to him. I can't remember his name. He does content. And he was basically suggesting that Onana is now the biggest problem because Man United basically pass out from the back. So, players sit off Man United. And now that, doesn't allow Bruno and Rashford to be in the game. And I'm like, not entirely true. Like, getting fine margins against Spurs. Bruno missed from 6 yards. That's not Onana stifling us. Bruno, played a flipping across to Rashford after during that first half that was marginally offside. Rashford should have scored. Again, if that goes in, fine margins. Same thing against Arsenal. If, the whisker of offside, Bruno put the ball through. Bruno had a captain's performance against Forest when we absolutely dominated the ball. To be fair, in that game, Onana hardly had a touch. But, that's not, Onana's not the problem. Man United are going to have a new way of playing. That's going to take time. So, it is interesting to see everything. The hounds are out with Onana, trying to meme him every week, but when he makes a save or does an amazing pass, they ain't clipping that. So we know that. Hated the door, never ignored, but we have to be the ones to be calm. In terms of news, though, injury boost, injury updates. There's been a little bit of an injury boost on Ahmad. There's been an injury boost or updates on Martinez and Mainoo as well. I'll start with Mainoo. Because there wasn't much text to it, but it's little cryptic messages. I think Bruno put up an Instagram post the other day and was like, when can we see you on the pitch? And Mainoo sort of said, soon, coming soon, bro. And he also posted on his Instagram picture of himself in the United kit with the timer to basically insinuate that he's going to be back quicker than we first thought, which is good. I mean, look, it doesn't guarantee that, but it was a positive indication when players start talking with timers, and we saw it with Rasmus Hojlund, didn't we? He was putting up soon and all of this stuff. Loads of players have done it in the dressing room, taking pictures of their boots, saying back on the grass soon. But So when they're in a good spot, I think players do tend to do that, especially younger players. So that's good to hear, or it certainly looks good to hear, to see. I mean, what do you lot think that the plan is with Mainoo when he comes back? Because I've said it before, a lot of us have been talking about United View. I honestly think that he could have started in the season. At home to Wolves on the opening day, I think we could have seen Mainoo probably next to Casemiro at the time. I mean, I know there was Mount, but I don't know. I just felt like Ten Hag was really pushing him, and that might be quite presumptuous to think. Maybe he just really wanted him to get all of pre-season to show Mainoo that this is going to be his breakthrough season. Maybe he wasn't going to start first game of the season, but I felt like Ten Hag just wanted a big role for him this year. I feel like he wants him to have the Garnacho season of last year, because if you look at what Garnacho did last year, okay, forget the beginning because his attitude wasn't right. Kobbie Mainoo isn't labelled with that start to his sort of first team life, but he needs to have that. I mean, Garnacho came through slowly, appearances off the bench, off the bench, off the bench, and just kept impacting the game. So maybe, I mean, it is more difficult to do that in central midfield, especially now we've got Amrabat as well. Obviously, we've got Mount as well. But there's no reason why he can't have that sort of season. I don't see why he can't have a breakthrough season of that, where he goes, you know what? I think Kobbie Mainoo is ready to get appearances at least. Carabao Cup, early in the FA Cup, depending on the draws. Some home games if we haven't been yet, but if we're at home and we're comfortable, we're cruising. 70th minute, we're a couple of goals up. You bring on Kobbie Mainoo, give him some experience. So maybe it will be more of a season like that. But I do think that is a big positive. Martinez injury update. Lionel Scaloni, manager of Argentina, I believe, said this on Martinez's injury. He said, Leacher, as you know, had an issue with his feet. By the way, he had surgery a while ago. In the last game, he was in pain. He went out for precaution. So that's good to hear. That's just precautionary. They have done studies and he's well. He'll be with us if we want to risk him or not. I didn't like that last bit, if we want to risk it or not. Either he's okay to play or he's not. It should never be a risk. But maybe that's just, I don't know, a translation or something. Or he's just saying it a bit flippantly. But the bit where they said that they've done studies and he's well, that is positive. So he will be with them. But just that bit about risking him, big man, don't risk him. If you can't play, you can't play. He also says it's an uncomfortable situation and we have other teammates who can replace him well. It's not necessary that we risk him. So that is the rest of the context. In any case, if he's available, we'll evaluate whether to use him or not at first. For tomorrow's match, it would be a little rushed. We'll see for the second match. So basically, he ain't going to play the first match, and he'll need to come in the second match. Or if they're going to play him, he'll need to be in the second match, which ain't the worst. Ain't the worst. If he's not fit to play the first, but he is, but you don't want to risk it, and then you want to give him some minutes in the second. At least he can have his practice run, at international duty, because I am being a little bit selfish here, but we always put club over country, don't we? Especially when it ain't our country, which I understand. If he's umming and ahhing whether he's okay, I'd much rather him test it out and get some minutes under his belt to get back for Argentina than it be testing it out against Brighton at home when we get back off international break, because that is not going to that's not going to be easy. So positive signs on Leach are, a lot of us were saying, I mean, me and Owen were saying it, we're like, well, why did he actually come off then? Why did he actually come off? But there's more detail there where, it's in the same foot that he's had operated on. And if that didn't happen and a precaution wasn't taken, what would we have said? We would have said, look, at the end of the day, he's just come back off a long injury. Typical Man United, didn't take the precaution, and now he's injured again. That's what we would have had to have said. So that is an issue. And there was a small update on Ahmad as well, sort of saying he's on his way back from injury, which is a positive as well. How much he'll get used this year, I don't know. Probably get himself fit and then probably get a loan in January. Obviously, he was going to go to Sunderland, but they couldn't take him in the end because of that injury. So a little bit of positive news on that situation. I want to quickly talk about Sofyan Amrabat, because obviously he done the club media stuff and he had a lot to say. I got some quotes here. He said, I was 18, 19 years old, and he gave me a chance to play in the first team, Eric Ten Hag with Utrecht. We had a fantastic time, a really good season. I learned a lot from him. So maybe he's one of the most important people in my career from now. It's fantastic because I think Eric Ten Hag is a coach who will push always to the limits. He's hungry. He wants to win. He's a winner, and I like that. I think I'm also similar. I'm also a winner. I want to win every day. So it's a good match. He also said about Man United greats. He went on to say, in general, I look more to midfielders like Paul Scholes, Roy Keane, David Beckham, but there were so many big players: Gary Neville, Rio Ferdinand, Louis Saha gets a mention. That's a bit random, isn't it? Talking about a lot of greats there: Roy Keane, David Beckham, Paul Scholes, Gary Neville, Rio, Louis Saha, then goes to Wayne Rooney, then Cristiano Ronaldo. Big up to Louis Saha, but it's just so random. Maybe because you never know, that might have been one of his favorite players, growing up. It's just so funny when you just see someone just randomly dropped in. Big up Louis Saha though. And he said, I can go on for 1 hour to say names. Exactly, definitely could have. So we just got a little bit about into it, a little bit about, a little bit of insight into his mentality, what his intentions are. And, again, another player that Eric Ten Hag has brought in that he's got previous history with. It's a common theme. It's a common theme. One that sometimes we can question and say, is he ever going to bring in players that he doesn't know? I know Casemiro was that, but every other player, maybe not Hojlund as well, but a lot of other players always have a backstory with Ten Hag. Always, nearly all of them. If we look at his signings, I think it is all of them apart from Casemiro and Hojlund, if you think about it. Okay, Bayern India doesn't really count. But in terms of, Mount, saw him when he was on loan, played against Ajax, a little bit of a story. Terrell Malacia, Dutch, seen him playing for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. Onana, we know all about. Ericsson, early doors. When he came back, sort of when he was coming back to training, from recovering from his heart situation, I think he went to Ajax to get some game time, a little bit of relationship there. Who else is there? Not Casemiro. Martinez, we know all about that. So what I'm saying is a common theme. Amrabat now, it is a common theme that Ten Hag clearly wants. Anthony, he always wants players that he knows. It seems he would rather go for that. I think Casemiro being the one anomaly because he's just straight up quality and you know what you're getting, world class. So I get it because it's kind of easier to put your principles across in a shorter space of time, and players know what to expect from you. They're aware of your demands. They're aware of your standards of how you operate, your personality, and obviously your tactics of how you want to play. And not all of them have played with Ten Hag. In the most recent, you look at Ericsson or Malacia or other players like that. They haven't, and Amrabat hasn't played with him since he was 18. What's he now? 27. So it is a long time ago, but it does help. I think it propels the relationship a little bit further than starting from scratch. But you do need to be able to start from scratch as well with players, and that's what Hojlund is. So we'll see. But honestly, I really am looking forward to getting Amrabat in, and he's trained with Morocco. He's got a couple of games as well for Morocco during this transfer break. And actually, on the transfer window, they can always be annoying, can't they, when they come too early? We're like, flipping heck, man. That's another. I just want Premier League games, man. I want to get us going. But actually, when you think about it, you got in our situation where we've got a couple of injuries. It's good that there's a couple of weeks with no games, so our injured players get more time to come back without missing Premier League games. And also, it's good because we've got a few players who have just come back or on a periphery, who need game time, and it's a way for them to get game time away from the hustle and bustle of the Premier League. So if you look at Amrabat, for example, I think it's fair to say his pre-season with Fiorentina was completely disjointed. You had to wait till flipping deadline day to come to Man United. Fiorentina had left him out of their pre-season games. I think they even left him out of their opening games, etc. Basically, he was on his way out. So his preparation to start the season is not ideal. So the fact he can go away with Morocco, hopefully, if he can play 90 minutes in both, great. But whatever he can play, get him up to speed so that we can look at, okay, maybe he might not start against Brighton. I'd love him to, but we'll see. We'll see. He'll probably be on the bench, but I would love him to start. But we want him to get up to fitness. The same with Rasmus Hojlund. He's come back off this back injury. He came on against Arsenal, half an hour, 15 minutes, whatever it was. Probably longer, actually. It was about half an hour. And then he goes away for a couple of games with Denmark. Hopefully starts in both, plays 60 odd minutes in both, maybe hopefully completes a 90 in both. Again, comes back fit, fresh and ready to go against Brighton, because boy, that ain't going to be no easy game against Brighton. We know what Brighton are on. We have to be ready to face them. So yeah, looking forward to that. And I actually think that the fact that the international break is now is probably a good thing. And lastly, I also want to touch on the Ballon d'Or situation, peeps, because Rashford was not on the Ballon d'Or list. Now, I said this yesterday, because Rashi, look, he can frustrate sometimes, and people say, football IQ and this, that, and the other. But last season, let's just not get it twisted. 56 appearances, 30 goals, 11 assists. Like, he was up there with the top scorers in Europe. He really, really was. Some people who made it to the list, he had even better numbers than them in all competitions. People like Saka, people like Odegaard across all comps, not just in the Prem. And I just think it's a trap. I can't believe he's not on it. Even Kolo Muani, I think, is on it. And I'm like, what on earth is going on here? Like, look, you can say what you want about Rashi, about consistency and this, that, and the other, but it has to be based on to be based on that one calendar year. That's what the Ballon d'Or is for. It's not for what they've done over their career and all that. It's what they've done within that year. That's why I'm not saying that he should be in the top 10 and he should do the top 5 and he'd be with a chance to win the Ballon d'Or. I'm just saying the fact that he's not even on the list is scandalous. I don't understand it. Onana is on the Ballon d'Or list, for obviously what he did with Inter last year. But yeah, I don't know. I just think Rashford, he just gets that's unfair. That's unfair. Come on, man. The guy literally put Man United on his back. Think of, even if he scored his goals in a congested period and then went a bit, south after that. Come on, man. You can't just say he wasn't good enough. You can't, to be on the Ballon d'Or list. That's not it. That really, really isn't it. So come on, man. For me, Rashi had to be. He had to be on that list because he deserved it. He deserved it. Like, what would Man United's season have been if he took away 30 goals from it last year? Just think about it, right? Because if he didn't score 30 goals, our biggest problem was scoring goals. We got, good amount of clean sheets. David De Gea got the Golden Glove. But our biggest problem was scoring. If you look at the rest of the top six, Brighton scored more than us. Liverpool scored more than us. I think Newcastle did. Obviously, Arsenal, City did. A lot of teams scored more than us, maybe even Villa. But I remember a lot of teams scoring more than us, And that's with Rashford scoring 30 goals in all comps, man. And 15, 16 in the league. So, nah, I think they've done him dirty there. But there you go. It is what it is. Smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Smash a like as well. And I'll be back very, very soon with another video. What day is it today? It's Thursday. So, yeah, back with more news tomorrow morning. And any more if we get it across the day as well. Great to talk to you lot. Just a nice little, just me and you. Anyway, guys, I'm out of here. Take care. Peace.